What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. Okay, I want to talk about Possibilus the Wise, and you can see here, if we look at Chaos Legion and specifically Chaos Legion summoners, Possibilus the Wise is selling for $10.64. Now, in comparison with the other legendary summoners that have already been released, the 6-mana ones, you got Conqueror Yasik at $14.50 and $14.90 for Grandmaster Wraith, respectively, and then Quix the Devious, which came out initially, is going for $14.30. Okay, I want to talk about Possibilus the Wise and why I think it is actually a steal. Now, I'm not talking about price in absolute terms. I'm talking about price in relative terms. So, what do I mean by that? What I'm trying to say is that I'm not saying that you should buy the card right now because $10.64 is a good price. Who knows? It could drop down to $8, $5 next week or next month, right? With where the market is going, I should say, that seems, it's not out of the realm of possibility. What I'm trying to point out, though, is the upcoming change in the overall game meta, and that is this relationship right here between Possibilus the Wise and Kelia Friendduel. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, for those of us who got in within the last 18 months or, right around whenever that big bull run started last year, what was our biggest hurdle? We were able to max out all of Chaos Legion cards, but we didn't have access to a lot of the older summoners. So for example, if I'm just going to look at the water summoners from Untamed, Dice, and then Rift Watchers, when we first came into the game, right, these were the summoners that were available: Lear Deepswimmer, Bordis, and Vera. And Vera was, probably the cheapest, and everybody, was always hating on her anyway. But either way, when we first came in, what we ended up doing was maxing out our Kelia, but we couldn't get Bordis because Bordis was way more expensive at the time. The price on Bordis has come down significantly, same with Lear Deepswimmer. But even for someone like myself, I never even bothered to go after Bordis and Lear Deepswimmer. I went after just Kelia, excuse me, and my Kelia isn't even fully maxed yet, right? So the point is, when we came in, the meta was Kelia was the new summoner, and Bordis, Vera, and Lear Deepswimmer were the older ones that they were the older ones that we didn't have access to as newer players. Well, what happens when the meta shifts and there is potentially a new round of players coming in? Well, you take Untamed and Dice out, and you take and you put Rift Watchers in. There will be a Rebellion set of summoners, right? A version of Kelia there. And we don't know what this looks like yet, but probably, if it's the same as Untamed and Dice and even Beta, there's probably going to be a set of rare summoners that first come out, and then legendary summoners that are given as airdrops later. So if we just speculate just a little bit on what the rare summoner for water will be in the future, I think we can say with a certain degree of confidence that it may not have armor, because it would be just like adding Kelia. If anything, right? If anything, it might look similar to Bordis or Ulrich or someone from like the past that has already rotated out. But I'm not even trying to get at that. What am I trying to get at? I'm looking at the relationship between Possibilus the Wise and Kelia. And the main thing about this is the fact that Possibilus is nerfed so bad by Kelia because Trample is something that benefits from no armor, right? You want to just be able to pound through the backline super easily. And so if you think about the fact that in the future, there may be a summoner that does not have armor because Kelia in the modern format already has it, well, that's where Possibilus comes in. And then you will be able to dominate in the beginning, or not in the beginning, but until like whatever the legendary summoner for Rebellion ends up being, until that comes out, you'll be able to dominate with someone like Possibilus the Wise. So there have been several games where Possibilus has just absolutely tore it up for me. And there are some games where, it doesn't make sense to play him, or, the armor or whatever the case is. I can understand it's a very niche summoner, but I'm trying to point out if you have a long enough time preference, and here's the thing, it doesn't even need to be some kind of It doesn't even need to be some kind of like unknown time preference. We know already when the final burn for Chaos Legion will be, right? That's already set in stone, barring any kind of SPS governance that votes to stop the burning. And if we know that the team wants there to be a roughly 3 month period of no cards available on the market, well, then then we can probably expect it by sometime mid to late summer for Rebellion to come out. So that being said, it's about 6 months, maybe if there's major delays, 8 months away. And that's why I look at Possibilus, again, relative to the other summoners and then relative to where Kelia is, and think to myself, well, this is definitely a summoner that I would want to have maxed out, primarily because when Rebellion becomes part of the modern format and Untamed moves out, a lot of new players who come in will probably not be looking to get Kelia because they're going to try and get the newer summoners that are available, similar to what our situation was. Now, this is probably going to happen in a bear market unless the market ticks up or pivots at some point next year. I'm not optimistic about that, but let's say it does. At the end of the day, I would expect Kelia and Possibilus to be out of reach for newer players when those newer players come in, simply due to lower supply. Same thing that the players like myself who came in around summer of 2021 or later had to deal with. So just want to put that on your radar, just something to think about as you go along here. Again, I'm not saying that you should ape into this card at $10. It does remind me of a lot of the stories that I hear from Mavs and OGs, people who've been around, that say, oh yeah, I remember when, Yoden was selling for $20. And, Darkest Night always talks about like, yeah, he didn't max out his summoners because they were like 10, $20 at the time, and he didn't think that they would sell out. So I'm not trying to get you to ape into this. I'm just saying it seems like people are treating this time period the same way. And all I'm trying to say is that there is an end date for this. So you don't necessarily have to ape in, and there will probably be 3 months still unless, something picks up with Chaos Legion pack sales. And even still, even if Chaos Legion sells out, there's a good chance that the new player base won't come in right away, right? So there'll still be time to soak up all of the cards from the current player base. But that being said, that's all I wanted to share with you. Just some positivity, we'll call it, around Possibilus the Wise. He's definitely a fun summoner in niche situations. Anytime I see a no armor situation, I always look to see if he is a viable play, because the water monsters are fantastic to use. They're super fast, and being able to use trample on that back line with opportunity, deep lurker, Rooney, what's that called? Pellicor Bandit. Like it gets to be a lot of fun. So that's all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.